Let's start. Hi everyone, Salesforce Development Day 24. Today and tomorrow it will be development class. And let's see what are we going to learn today. We'll quickly go through the previous session and we'll talk about all rows in SOQL. We have a all rows class and order by class, offset class, per update class, dynamic SOQL query, and then we will see in operator and like operator. Then after that, we will talk about little bit DML statements and what are the governor limits for the DML statements and what is the best practice to write the DML statement. And we'll have a conclusion, interview questions. Quickly, so what did we learn in our last class?
SOQL.
Static SOQL queries, dynamic SOQL queries, SOQL governor limits.
Right, and also we have seen where class, limit
class, limit class.
So today we will talk about the AllRows class. So AllRows class is basically, let's assume that I have 10 records in account object. There are 10 records in the account object. Out of these 10 records, 5 records are deleted. 5 records are deleted, and right now account has only 5 records. Account has only 5 records. Now, if I execute a normal SOQL query, like a select ID, comma, name from, if I say account, what will happen? It is going to give me only these 5 records. But along with these 5 records, I needed deleted records also. Basically, AllRows is nothing but where it is going to pull the current active accounts as well as the deleted accounts. If we wanted to know both together, then we have to use a AllRows class. So AllRows class, by using this class, we can fetch all the records from the object, including deleted records, So syntax will be normal SOQL query. Then at the end, we have to add AllRows. So by adding that, we can able to fetch everything, whatever the exist in the org, whether it is a deleted or not deleted, everything we can able to get it. Now let's take a use case. Write an Apex program to fetch all account records from the object, including the deleted records, So let's go to the Salesforce. Now we have an account. So there are multiple accounts are here. Let me switch to the Lightning. Okay, so if I go to the all accounts, right now I have 32 records are there. 32 records are there. In recycle bin, let's go to the recycle bin. So if I open the recycle bin, we have not deleted any account records, so it won't be there any account records. I have only candidate record. Now what I'll do is I'll delete the sales account records like this one, new 12314. Delete this. I have deleted that, and also n account 1234. Delete. I have deleted 2 records. So right now it is a 30 records. If I execute normal SOQL query, what will happen? It will give me only 30 records. So select ID, comma name from account. So let's execute it. It says 43 records. Do I have a 43 records? Why it is saying 43 records? Samskar writing. Oh, this is a recent items. Click on all accounts. Okay, 43 items are there. Let me delete few more. So I'll delete this account record 1. And also I'll delete this. And then I'll delete the one more. Perfect. So now I'll have a 40 records. I have a 40 records in the recycle bin. In the recycle bin, I have a account records. Total count of the account records are, we have 5 records of the account. So 5 records are deleted and 40 records are in the account. Now, if I run normally, it does not give me any of the deleted record. So what I'll do is, let me implement a program, Apex class. Database class. So I have created a database class. So description. Testing. SOQL. Classes. Okay. And then created by. And then created date. So the top will be author. So created date. Date is today 22-03-2023. Okay. Now how to implement method? What do I need to write it?
Access modifier, return type, method name, parameters, if required.
Public, static,
Static.
void,
Tag,
method
void.
name.
Get all accounts. Now, so if I have to pull the list of records, which variable do I need to store it?
List
List account,
account,
variable name,
ACC
equal new,
equal to new list.
Why we need a new? Directly I can write here. So, right?
Yes, circle. Select
ID,
ID name from account.
So this is normal query. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write another condition here. Let's say
all rows.
all rows. I'll write the all rows. Now, let me print the count of this system.debug account count. So I'll use plus and this ACC list dot size. Now, how can I execute this method?
Anonymous window, class name dot method name.
Class name dot method name.
Get database class.
Right. So now if I execute it, it should come total all the 40 plus 5 records. So 45 records. So here it is 45 records. It is giving me all the records. In case if you wanted to print, whether it is really printing or not, If you are still in a doubt, what you can do is you can loop through the account for account ACC and we have it
Account list.
system.debug account record. Name is acc.name. Let's save it. What are the records that we have? Account record 11, 12, and account 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me execute this. Now account record 11 came, 12 came, N account 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So N account 1, 2, 3, 4 is in recycle bin. And then we have a new 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here it is. Right? Everything it is pulling me from the, even from the deleted also it is pulling. So in case in the real time, if you need, I need to get the total, the deleted records also including the active records, then we have to use the AllRows. And then next one is
Ma'am,
Yeah.
small note. If you remove those records from the recycle bin also, it will come.
No.
Okay.
If we remove this from here, let's take it. Let me delete this. So new 1, 2, 3, 1, 4. I'm deleting that. Okay. So now I have 4 records and 40 records. Now let me execute this class, debug. Now let's click on execute it. I need to refresh. Okay, so debug, open. File, open resource, database class. Debug, open. Database class dot get all accounts. Click on execute. And 1, 2, 3, 4, new 1, 2, 3, 4, still it is coming. Let me delete few more records. I'm deleting all the records here completely, permanently deleting the record. Nothing is there. Let's refresh. There is a logic like till 15 days, it will be there in the backend. But after that, the data will not be there. So database clause, debug. Dot get all accounts. Click on execute. Yes, it is pulling. Even if you delete from the recycle bin also, it is getting the data. I think it will be there for the 15 days. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's move on. The next one is a order by class. So order by class is sometimes what happens is we wanted to get the records based on the created date. So today, how many records are created? Yesterday, how many records are created based on the created date? I wanted to get it. So for that, so basically order by class is used By using this class, we can arrange the result set records either in ascending or descending order based on one or more class. Based on one or more class. So syntax will be normal SOQL query, then we'll have a order by the column name. So let's take example of order by name. For example, I'm executing the query and so account query, I'm executing it. So for account query, if I write order by name, it will print me all the order by. So I can write order by ascending and descending order. So if the user did not specify, user is nothing but developer, did not specify any order range, the records will be Salesforce automatically put it into the ascending order by default. In case if I do not specify this order by, and if I do not specify ascending or a descending, then what will happen is by default, Salesforce will take it as a ascending. So let's take a use case, write an Apex program to fetch all the account records from the object and arrange the records in ascending order. Now let's go to this and let me implement another method. I'm copying the same. Now here get all account records by name. So instead of this all rows, what I'll do is I'll say order by, I'll say name, order by name. I'll say order by name. So for example, let's do it here. Select ID comma name. Now here order by, if I say name, so it is printing everything. So I have not mentioned ascending or descending. I have not mentioned ascending or descending. I have not mentioned here. I just gave the order by and then I gave the field name, but I did not mention here ascending or descending. If I do not specify any ascending or descending, by default, Salesforce is going to put everything into the ascending or descending. Now, what I'll do is, in case if I say here descending order, so what will happen? It will give me in the descending order. Now, the class that we have written, right? So here I say all rows. So give me all rows order by name. So let's see how it is going to print the data. Now for the all rows only, I'm putting the order by name. So debug, open. So let me execute this, execute. Right, so it is giving me all of them in the ascending order. All of them in the ascending order. And total I have 45 records. So this is the query. It is order by name and ascending. We did not add ascending here. I did not add any ascending. But what happened? Salesforce has automatically added here order by name and it added the ascending. Ascending, and what it is saying that nulls first. Ascending, nulls first. That means if you have any null values, right? Account name is a mandatory. That's the reason we do not have any null values here. But let's take any other field. Okay, if that field does not have any data, that means first to show all the null values. First to show all the null values, then display the, after that, make it as a ascending. So let's take another field. So let's go to the account. So in the account, we have an account number. Right, there is an account number. Let's take the account number. So here, name, comma, account number. And then from the account, and order by and say account number. Order by account number. Now debug, execute, highlight this, execute it. So let me take the account number. So take the account number here, print the account number. Debug, open database class.get all accounts. So first, all the null values. So what it is saying here, it is automatically building the query. Half of the query, it is building it. Half of the query is built by Salesforce. So account number, ascending, nulls first. So that means show if there are any, for this field, if there are any null values are there for that order by, right? Order by, if there are any null values are there, then display the null values first. Then after that, start with ascending order. Once the null values are over, then start with null values. Now, then any questions on the order by? Okay, so next we will move on offset class. Offset class is basically offset is nothing but a skip. Offset is nothing but a skip. That means, for example, I have a 10 records in the account. I have 10 records in the account. Out of these 10 records, skip first 5 records. Skip first 5 records. When you are printing the data, skip first 5 records and display the rest of data. Display the rest of data. That means in case while returning the data, in case while returning, like you are printing some data and you are doing the order by last name or order by some data. So in that case, what you are saying is, okay, skip few things. First 10 records, because first 10 records, account revenue is null. First 10 records, account revenue is null. So skip those null values and then you can print the rest of them. Now, how can I give? We have to give offset. Basically, in the where condition, we have to specify offset and 5. What will happen? It will not print the first 5 records. It will not print the first 5 records. And you can use offset along with order by, and you can use the limit. Along with the limit also you can use it. So order by, limit, offset can be used together. Order by, limit, offset is used together. So offset is nothing but this class is used to skip the specified number of records from the result set. Both limit class and offset class should be used to achieve the pagination. So that means if you see the classic view, if you observe the classic view, if you go to the Salesforce Classic, so if you go to the Salesforce Classic, in the Salesforce Classic, let's go to the account. You can go to any other object. So let's take all accounts. Now, if you observe here, total I have 40 records. Total I have 40 records. Out of the 40 records, first page, I'm telling that display only 10 records. Display only 10 records. When I click on a next button, immediately what will happen? It will display the data from 11 to 20. It is displaying the data here 11 to 20. That means 1 to 10 records I have skipped it. When I clicked on the next button, 1 to 10, I have skipped the records. From 11th record, I'm showing the data here. Now, if I click on in next again, 1 to 20th, the records are skipped. And I'm displaying the 21st to 30. 21st to 30. So basically for this pagination also, we can use the offset class. That means I have 100 records. I can decide in the each page, how many records do I need it. So from when I click on a next button, from which record should I need to display the data? So for that, I can use the offset. I can use the offset. So both limit class and offset class should be used to achieve the pagination. Now, always offset class should be followed with limit class, because whenever you are saying the skip it, you should specify the limit, how many records you wanted to display. Now here in the pagination, I am saying that I wanted to display the 10 records. I wanted to display the 10 records. So 1 to 20, I have skipped it. 21, I have started, and limit is 10 records. Limit is 10 records. So offset and limit should be used together. If you are using the offset, you have to use the limit also in the real time. So let's take a use case. Write an Apex program to fetch the contact records from the object and skip the first 5 records from the result set.
Swapna?
Yeah.
Yeah, that all the rows which you mentioned, right? Can't we use it in the query editor?
No, we cannot.
Okay.
So if you use all rows here, what will happen is it is going to give you the error. It says that unknown error parsing query, because this cannot be accepted by the query editor. All rows only works when you go for a Apex. Okay, so moving on to the offset. So write a Apex program to fetch the contact records from the object and skip the first 5 records from the result set. Now for the offset, so let's go here. Let me implement public static void get contacts. Now here I need to get the contact information. So I'll be writing the select ID comma. In the contact we have a first name, last name, right? And then email. From contact. Now this is normal query. This is normal.
Are they there? Just check.
So this is normal query. So for this normal query, what I'm doing is first I'm going to implement order by. That means I'm going to tell the system that all this contact, first put it in the order by. First sort it. So let's take order by last name. Order by last name. First sort it. Then give a limit. How much limit do I wanted to display? Let's say that limit 100 records. How many records we have on the contact? We should be having more. So let's go to the contact. Let's see all contacts here. Let's switch it to the lightning. So let's go to the contacts. Now I'll have all contacts for my org. So assume 50 plus records are there. Okay, let's take the 100 records. Now limit is 100 records. And what I need is first I'll print the how many records are getting. So in case instead of writing here, what I'll do is same query, I'll write it here in the query editor. In the query editor, I'm writing the same query. Order by and then I'm saying the limit. Click on execute. So what is happening? It is giving me in the order Balaji, Barberry, Bond. So whatever these first 5 are there. So I'm going to skip these 5. I'm going to skip these 5 records, right? Whatever it starts with the B, I'm going to skip those records. That means it should print from the contact onwards. So from the contact onwards, it should print. So what I'll do is limit 100, then let's say offset 5 records. Offset 5 records. Now what I'll do is I'm going to print these records. For loop contact con list. Con list. Now system.debug contact. Let's take a last name. Yeah, let's take a last name. Contact last name plus con dot last name. Con dot last name. Now click on save. Description. Created by get all contacts except first 5. Contact records. Okay, so let's save this. Now let's go ahead and execute. Database class dot get contacts. Now let me execute this. Execute the highlighted one. So what is happening from the first one? It is printing the contact. So first record is a contact, but actually how many records I have here? It is starting with Balaji, right? So, but it is starting with contact here. That means I have skipped the first 5 records. I have skipped the first 5 records and it is printing the rest of the records. It is printing the rest of the records. So that's about the offset. We rarely use the offset in real time. Now, till now, any questions on these classes?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so homework, write an apex to fetch all the lead records and arrange them in descending order based on the annual revenue field. And the second one is write an apex program to fetch top 5 highest revenue accounts from the object. So how you are going to run the execute the query for the second one? Write an apex program to fetch top 5 highest annual revenue account from the object. So how you will implement for the second one?
Using order by.
Order by which field you will use it?
Descending.
Order by annual revenue descending.
Descending and then
Limit 5.
Limit equal to 5.
limit.
Five.
5.
So you have to use the 2 classes here, order by class, limit class. Write an Apex program to skip first 10 records in the lead order by company. And the next one is delete the 2 position records and completely delete it from the recycle bin. So, and write an Apex program to fetch all the position records from the object, including deleted records. Write an Apex program to fetch the opportunity records from the object and skip the first 5 records from the result set. So these are the homework. Now let's move on to the for update class. So for update class is basically, let's assume that I have an account object. I have account object. In the account object, I have an ID, name, and then rating, annual revenue. These are the 4 fields I have. So assume that I have a 3 records. One is a Sagar record, Swati record, and then the Rajni record with some annual revenue value, 45 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 46 lakhs. Okay, this is the records which are there in the account object. Now, as per the real time, let's take a user 1. There is a user 1 and user 2. Both are having this account object access. Both are having account object access. User 1 is trying to update the second record. User 1 is trying to update the second record. At the same time, user 2 is trying to delete this record. One person is trying to update the record, one person is trying to delete the record. But this is happening at the same time. Even seconds, everything is the same. Both are working on a same record. So what will happen if both users are working on a same record? How it is going to take it up? One user is updating, one user is deleting. So how the system will, what will happen here? How system will react it? So this kind of a scenario in the Salesforce, it is called as a deadlock situation. It is called as a deadlock situation. None of them, it will not work. One user is updating, one user is deleting, and both update and delete, both the actions are happening at the same time. So this is called, this kind of a scenario is called as a deadlock situation. This scenario is called as a deadlock situation. So Salesforce, in order to overcome this deadlock situation, they have introduced something called as a synchronous. Something called as a synchronous. That means let this person update it. Let this person update it. That means when this person is updating it, what it does is let this person update it, then I'll open up the access for deleting it. So when this person is trying to delete it, it says that there is another person who is working on this. Another person who is working on this. So you cannot delete the record. That means one by one, whatever the requests are coming in, both at a time, it will not take it. First, it will take the update, then it will take the delete. In order to do that, so in order to process this, in order to process this synchronous, we call it as a locking mechanism. We call it as a locking mechanism. So it is similar like in the real-time scenario when you reserve your flight ticket or a train ticket, right? So that means that seat is occupied for you. Nobody can take that. The seat is occupied for you. Nobody can take that. So once you purchase the ticket, that means the ticket is the seat, whatever is the seat is on your name. Similarly, once this person is performing any action, could be an update or could be a some other information, whatever the person is updating it here. So that means right now, this particular record is locked for this user. Locked for this user. Now this user cannot open that because it is already logged. Once this person is done with the updating the information, the locking mechanism will be released for this user, and for this user now you will have access to do any action on this record. So this is generally will happen in the Salesforce. But when we are doing this person is doing through the SOQL query. This person is also doing through the SOQL query. Both are doing through the SOQL query. So when we are doing through the SOQL query, can we have a locking mechanism? Because we write a logic in the Apex, and Apex can be run by multiple users. In the real time, the multiple users can open up their records and update it, can be happen, right? So in that scenario, in the SOQL query, we need a locking mechanism. We need a locking mechanism saying that this request came, that means lock the record on this user, and let's keep it the second one in the queue. So when this locking is released, then I'll process the second one. How can we say that through the SOQL query? Is the concept is called as a per update class. By using the per update class, we can log the record, whoever is doing any action for that particular request, for that particular transaction, we are going to log the record. So that means while writing the SOQL query, we can specify that per update class. We can specify per update class. That means whenever somebody or any user is performing any action, and if that SOQL query is executed, then we'll say that, okay, this particular record is per now, it is logged. Nobody can update it, nobody can delete it, or nobody can modify it. Right? So for that, we use a per update class. So this is one of the interview questions they will ask, how you can implement a locking mechanism for the SOQL queries. So simply we can say that using the per update class, we can implement the locking mechanism. So by introducing the locking mechanism, what will happen? The data will be processed synchronously. So for update class, by using this class, we can apply the locks on the record. Once the transaction has been completed, the lock will released automatically. So syntax is SOQL query and then per update. You can directly write, for example, select ID, name, rating from account per update. If I say per update at the end, it is same. It is going to log that particular record.
So, Swapna, so now adding for update, is it considered as a best practice, or is it something mandatory when only when we have to updating the record? Why it is?
It's your case by case. Okay, so if you have a normal scenario, so whenever the developers are write the program in the real time, rarely we do not use the per update. But assume that there is a batch class which is running at the back end. And that batch class is not scheduled at the night time. Usually we schedule the batch class when the users are not on the system. But let's assume that there is a batch class which is running at the back end when the users are online. So that time, in case if we want, definitely when the users are online means definitely there will be some updates will be going to happen. In those scenarios, either normal logic, whatever you are writing a logic, like when the user click on a button, as soon as user click on a button, you can say that when you are performing update or insert, you can say per update, or else in the batch class also, you can say per update. So that means what happened is for safety purpose, we are using, because I'm running the batch class when the users are online.
Okay.
Okay, so the homework is open the contact record. Okay, so this we cannot, so basically what you have to do is you have to be very quick on this. So you need to write a logic here. List of contact, say contact list equal to select ID, comma, first name, comma, last name from contact. No. Okay, so here, take a specific record. Let's say ID equal to where ID equal to, let's take one of the record. ID equal to, you can take this. Now, what you have to do is you need to update this for, or else let's take the just contact because we are going to take only one record here. So I'm using the contact here. So let's say con list, it's not a list, it's a just con dot, I'm updating the first name equal to, let's say some, let's say Imran. Now what I'm doing is I'm updating the contact. I'm updating the contact. You need to write two methods. This is one method. This is another method. First method and this is a second method. Same record, try to update a different name here. Let's take another field. Phone number. Phone and update here phone dot phone. Let's take some name, number. And here you are updating some data here. Let's take Jyoti. So what you need to run is both here, use the for update, use here also for update. Okay, so now first method, second method, both you have to run at a time. You have to run at a time and see what is happening. See what is happening. So execute the first method and execute the second method and see what is happening there. So that's the homework. Next one, we'll move on to the dynamic SOQL query. So we have already discussed about the dynamic SOQL query. So in this approach, we can supply the column and conditions to the SOQL query dynamically at runtime. So we will be writing the SOQL query in the string, right? In the string, we will be writing the SOQL query. String variable name equal to, we are passing the entire query as a string. So similar like a string, account query equal to select ID, name, comma, rating from account. So this is what we have discussed. Now let's see one of the use case for this. Write an Apex program to fetch all the case records from the object based on the specified status runtime. Status I'm passing during the runtime. Even the SOQL query I'll be writing using the dynamic SOQL query. So let's go ahead and implement this. So public so let's say public static void. In this case, we are getting the get case by status. Get case by status. Now, as per the requirement, I need to pass the status during the runtime. So status, I need to pass it. So that means I need to have a here parameter, which is
Status.
what? Case status. Now, first I need to check whether I have a case status null or not. So that means it should have some value. So for that, I'm going to check if case status not equal to null, then. So ideally what I'll do, like normally we write it as a query like this, select ID, comma, status, comma, let's take a priority from case. Then I'll be writing the where condition here. Then I'll be writing the where condition. So here in the where condition, I'll say that status equal to, how can I pass the string here? Can I directly mention the string here?
Column.
Plus.
Not the plus one, look, colon. So like this, we have to write a query. Like this, we have to write a normal query. This is a normal query. If it is a dynamic query, what I have to do? Simply instead of this bracket, I have to put it into the string. Everything I need to place it into the string and store that into the string case query. That's it. Case query. Now, in order to execute this SOQL query, what is the command that we have to use it in order to execute this dynamic SOQL query?
Database dot
Query.
Database dot query.
query.
Inside this, we have to pass this query. And the output of this query, we have to store it into the related data type. So right now here we are querying the case. So that's the reason my list is case list. So now I'm storing everything into the case list. Now, let's look through the case and see, yes, we have a output into the case list. System.debug. And then you will see case record. CS dot. Let's take the complete record. Perfect. Now we have a get status. In the get status, we are going to pass the query, the string dynamically. So let's take here. So database class dot get case by status. If I try to execute this, what will happen? Will it work or it will give an error?
Throw the error method not found.
It will throws the error. Now, what are the different status we have on the case level? New, closed. So let's pass it as a new. Now highlight this execute the highlighted one. Right, so with the status new, I'm getting the 4 records. I'm getting the status equal to new. 4 records, I'm getting it. That's all I have. Right, so let's take the another example. Write an Apex program to fetch the count of a record existing in the lead object. Now what I'm interested here is get me the count of records for the existing lead object. If I go to the lead object and let's see how many records do I have. So if I say all records, this is the open records. So 50 plus records are there. Now this is a normal query, whatever we have written. But in case if I want a count of the record, what we will do, we use a keyword called count of ID from lead. This is how we use it. From this, I'm able to get the information. If I do not pass it also, in case if I do not pass this, it will give here 252. In case if I pass any variable there inside, it will give here the of, right? So this is normal query. Now same thing if I wanted to run it through the dynamic SOQL query. Same, I wanted to run it through the dynamic SOQL query. Now, if I wanted to run it through this dynamic SOQL query, public static void get record count. Now, for this record count, if it is a static SOQL, query, then I have an integer record count equal to, normally I'll be writing the select. I'll just specify the count here, count from lead. This is normal query. And I'll be able to get the output also, just system.debug. So I'll say that lead record count is and say record count. This is static, which we know that we just run here and we can see the output. Now the next one is dynamic. How can I write the dynamic query here? Dynamic SOQL query. For dynamic SOQL query, definitely we have to store the query in the string format. So let's say leads count equal to select. So whatever we have written, I'll be passing this into the single quotation. Now, if I write a database.query, will it be executed or not? So database dot query. Now here I need to pass the leads count. Now this is output is integer, so I'll be storing into the integer, let's say L count. Perfect. Now this is dynamic SOQL query. I'll print it. Lead record count for dynamic SOQL is L count. Now let's save this. What is happening here? It is saying that list to integer. Query return value is list. What does query returns? Query returns a list. Like we have seen previously, list, it returns the list. So query returns the list of records. But what we are trying to get here, I'm not getting the list, I'm getting the count. Just it is giving me the number here, 252, right? Just it is giving me the number, but it is not actually a list, it is a count. Now, in this case, what should we do? Query does not support. Query does not support. So if you wanted to know the count of the record, then you have to use count query. You have to use count query. If you use the count query, then what will happen? The output of the count query is integer. Output of the count query is integer. So that means Salesforce, this database is a class for the Salesforce. Database, this is a class. This is Salesforce class. That is Salesforce class. But in this Salesforce class, we have a method called count query. We have a method called count query. It's a, what are the different subprograms that we have? Procedure and
Function.
function. So if there is a return value, if I'm printing the return value, then what it is?
Function.
Function. So Salesforce has a function within this database. So that function is count query. So when we execute this database.count query, what will happen? It is returning some value in the integer data type. It is returning some value in the integer data type. So that's the same thing. We are going to store it into the L count. Now, if I take a query here, query is the procedure. So query is also function that is returning the list of the records. List of the records. So when I execute my program, ultimately Salesforce program also calls it. Ultimately, Salesforce programs also calls it, and Salesforce program, whatever the programs that we are using, what are the classes we are using, that also gets executed at the backend. Executed at the backend. Now let's go ahead and run this. Debug, open, and get record count. Database class dot get record count. Now highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Right. So here 252, lead record count is 252. What happened to other one? I did not save the record. So let's do, again, let's go ahead and execute it. So normal record count is 22 and dynamic SOQL query count is 252. So normal record count is 252 and dynamic SOQL query is also 252. So both the information I could able to see here. Static is printing as well as dynamic also printing the same output. Any questions here? Okay, so let's move on. And the next one is a in operator. In operator is basically when, for example, let's take an example of select ID, comma name from account. Now let's say, for example, I wanted to get the account where the industry is banking. Where industry is banking. That means I'll use directly industry equal to banking. I'll say directly industry equal to banking. So this is a normal query. Let's suppose I need a where industry equal to banking, or I need another condition here, industry equal to, let's take a insurance. If my record is qualifies this condition or this condition, then get me the information. That means if I have a 10 records, out of 10 records, 2 records are banking and rest of the records are insurance, then get me all of those. Or condition, either this is true or this is true. Or else, let's say that no, I have few more or condition. So another one, I'll say industry equal to technology. So we have a technology also. So this is also should qualify it. First check, if this is not qualified, then check this one. If it is not qualified, then check this one. Like this, I have a multiple OR condition. There is another OR condition. So let's say industry equal to, what else we have? Agriculture, I think we have. So agriculture. Right? So like this, I have so many 10 records are there. I have so many 10 records or so many records where the where condition is where industry equal to banking or insurance or a technology or a agriculture or a manufacturing, right? So there are different or conditions are there. If I write like this logic, definitely the query execution time is going to be increased. The SOQL query execution time is going to be increased. So first it will execute the banking industry. First check the banking industry. If that is not qualified, check the insurance. If that is not qualified, check the technology. If that is not qualified, check the agriculture. So step by step, it has to do. Step by step, it has to do. Instead of writing like this, what I'll be doing is, I'll say that where I'll give a column name here, industry, and then I can say in, and specify whatever the values that you want here. That means specify here banking, comma, insurance, comma, technology. Like I can mention in everything in condition. Instead of writing like this or condition, I can put everything in condition. So that means my syntax will be, syntax is where specify the column name here, specify the column name, and then specify here in operator, and then we'll have a values. What are the values that you wanted to give? So this way, what will happen is I can put everything into one place. That means I can place it in everything in the in condition instead of specifying into the or industry equal to banking or industry equal to insurance or industry equal to insurance or technology or agriculture. So if you place all the values in the in operator, what will happen is everything at a time it is going to check. So that what will happen is your SOQL execution will be bit faster. SOQL execution is bit faster. Now let's go to Here, is there any debug log is open? Okay, let's go down. Okay, so fine. Either you can write like this, or else what you can do is you can put this is a list basically, or this is a group of values. So for this group of values, what you can do is you can specify this group of values into one collection. You can specify this group of values into one collection so that you can see, so that instead of placing here multiple things, what you can do is you can place everything into set or a list. You can place everything into set and list, and you can refer that list or a set here. That means, let's take another example in the real time, how we will do it. In the real time, how we will do it. In the real time, we will not specify like this. What we will do is we will put everything into a set. So that means I'll implement a set of string. Either you can use this or few members will use it like this, string. So string, let's say string name is industry names, and then you can specify new. You are initializing here. While initializing itself, what you can do is you can specify all of this into the string. Now we have a separate string where it contains all the values. Now, how can you write this where condition? Where condition is, instead of specifying the value here, you can simply say that in colon and pass this string, so that everything will be covered. Or else if you do not want to store it into the set, if you want to store it into the string, the list, then you can use list also. Instead of set, you can use a list also. List, industry, list equal to new list of string, and then here you can specify all of this. You can build a list for all of this. Now you can give the where condition, where industry in equal to industry list, which is nothing but colon industry list. So this way what will happen is you can see this might be the easier. So everything will be, all the values are sitting in one place. So you need not to worry about again modifying your query. So this is one place where everything will be sitting there. So there are multiple ways to implement in condition. So in, directly you can place the value. In, you can pass the set of string. In, you can pass the list of string. Basically, this list of string and set of strings will contain the different values. The collection of values will be there. Now, any questions here?
Both banking, insurance, technology in both the ways.
It's breaking your voice. I cannot say. I cannot hear you.
Yeah, it means it's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear.
In both the ways, we required options like banking, insurance, and technology, right?
Yes.
In the
If
first,
you do not want this way, there is another way which you can do it. So which is called as a custom label. where you can do it as a configuration and you can simply pass that values here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, so these are the different values. In case if you do not want, none of this I do not want. If there is any other value apart from this, apart from this, apart from this, basically apart from this, if there is a account that contains a different industry value, I need those records. In that case, what you can do is you can use the not in. You can use the not in. So what will happen if you use the not in? So you can, what are the accounts that are not having the banking or a insurance or a technology, basically you can get those records here. You can get the records here. So in operator is used to compare the field values with the collection of elements at a time by using the where class. So in operator should always be used along with the where class because where has to be there. Now syntax where field API name in values. So okay, so let me take one scenario here. Let's go to the perfect. Now let's take a scenario. We have assume that I'll just take a sample. Let's go open this. Let's take out this. Okay, so I'll implement in the dynamic anonymous window. So let's take an example. Now I have a different accounts. I have different accounts. So what I'll do is I'll just take a one ID. So I'm building up the string. So let's take a set of string. Now let's say ACC IDs equal to new set of string. And then I'll use the object array. Inside the array, I'm passing the different IDs. So Akash is one, and then I have a few more records, like a Grand Hotel, one more is there. I'm passing this ID also. And then I'll take another account. Let's take support group. Fine. So I have a 3 values here. So now what I'll do is I'll say list of account ACC list equal to select ID comma name from account. Let's say where what I need is ID in column. I'll say ACC IDs. ACC IDs. Now this I'm going to print it. System.debug ACC list. Now let me execute this. It is giving me all the IDs, right? The first one is support group, Grand Hotel, then Akash. All these are providing the information. Now, you might be seeing the logs. For me different, for you different. Okay, so for me, I'm getting the logs which are user info, execution start, SOQL execute, right? So these all are things I'm seeing it. But in case if you are not able, if you are seeing more log information here, so go to click on this debug and click on the change log level. Click on the change log level. Now I have a here SFDC dev console. That is my debug level setup. That's my debug level setup. Now, in case if I change my debug log, okay, I have a two debug logs. One is a SFDC dev console and next one is a Samskar IT. From where these all are coming, these all are I have created in the debug level. If I go to the debug log, I can see the debug level, these two. So you can change here. When you change it, you will see different option here. So in case if you want to change it or if you want to add a new one, you can add it here so that your debug logs either displays more information or it shows the less information based on the setup that you have in the debug log in the Apex. So some members were saying that they were seeing the more information there in the debug log. So that's because you have a different kind of a setup. The change log you might be having here, different debug level. So that's the reason for that debug level. There might be some settings like a finest settings and other settings might be there. So in case if you modify, how can I see what are the settings are here? So for that, you need to go to the debug log. So if you go to the setup, and if you click on your debug log, in the debug logs, click on a new, and you will see one option here, debug level. Click on this. Here is the one SFDC. These are the two one which I'm able to see, right? Now, if you click on a new debug log level, what will happen? It is going to show me all of this. Now, in case if you wanted to see the existing one, in case if you wanted to see the existing one. So let me set it up here. Let me take 805. Click on save. Now here you have a filter. So click on these filters. You can see SFDC dev console. Now database information, I said that means SOQL execute, SOQL, these all are things are different. If I say that finest, give me everything, right? I roll back, SOQL execute, everything I wanted to know. Then you can give the finest means everything it is going to provide. So these all we have discussed. So in case if you wanted to change this, you can change it here so that it will be reflected in the debug log level also. In the Apex side, when you go to the Apex, here also it will be reflected because you are using the same debug level. Okay, so that's about the in operator. So in case if you say that, no, I do not want these records, I want a rest all other record. So you can simply say not in. So that means apart from these records, give me everything. So better I'll put it here, account dot size. Now click on execute. Size is 37 records. Before it was giving me only 3 records. Right now I'm getting the 37 records. Okay, so that's the not in. So homework for in operator, write an Apex program to fetch all position record from the object for the location Hyderabad or a Chennai or a Bangalore. If the position record is matching with any of these locations, then pull all the records. And the next one is candidate object, candidate records, where the qualification is BTech or MTech or MCA, pull those records. And next one is on the case records. Case records where it says the priority is not high, priority is not low. That means apart from this, I have another priority, which is a medium. So get me only the medium ones. That means priority where it is not in high or low. So get me those records. And the next one is a hiring manager whose designation is not a HR executive and not a HR manager. Get me those records. Get me those records. So these are the homework. Now the next one is a like operator. Like operator is basically, let me go to the classic. So like operator is nothing but right now what we are doing is, I am saying that where industry equal to banking. I'm saying where industry equal to banking or industry equal to agriculture. Right? So you can say, because you remember, let's suppose that accounts are there. There are few accounts. Okay, here, most of the accounts are parent record or it starts with a parent. Okay, now you remember that there is some records which says that parent. There are some records which says that parent. That means name equal to whoever is saying the parent, get me everything. Like, so this is exact match. When you say name equal to parent, that is exact match, right? So when you don't know the exact match, similar information, you have some information, not exact information. Then in that case, we use a like. We use like. Like means a similar data if you wanted to pull it. Where the similar data is available for that particular name. Or else, if you say here, you just remember the starting letter. You just remember the starting letter. So in that case, what we will use is P percentage. That means whatever the records that are starting with P, get me all those records. Now, if you go here, all records. So when you click on all records, on top, you are able to see all the A to Z, right? So when I click on a C, what will happen? It will get me the records that are having the starting with P. That means here what they are using it like operator. Like name like P percentage. So if I click on a S, it will give me all the starting letter of S, all the records it is giving me. If I click on a, all the records that are starting with A. So this scenario, whatever you see here right now in the Salesforce, the alphabetical order, this is a like operator. This is like operator. So as soon as you click on any letter here, it will show only the records that are starting with A. It does not give me the records if the word is containing the A. It does not give me the, like for example, I have the person, I have Madhu. Okay, so Madhu is also have a there. Madhu is also have a, but it does not give me Madhu here because it's starting with M. There is a here, but it is starting with M. In case if we start with any letter, for example, if it is starting with Akash, Akash is already there. So if there is any name which is starting with A, so it will give only those records. Apart from the A, it does not give. So here we are using the like operator. Like operator. So like operator is nothing but is used to fetch similar kind of information, similar kind of a information from the object based on the specified expression format. So whatever the format you have it, based on that format, it is going to bring the value. Now let's say like operator should always used with the where class. You cannot use the like operator without where. So where and like has to be there. So syntax is SOQL query where column name like expression. So the expression here can be it is like a with help of wildcard character. This expression is, we will be writing the expression like a parent. Along with the parent, if you want any wildcard characters. Now, what is the wildcard characters here? So wildcard characters, Apex is provided. There are few wildcard characters provided by the Apex, which can be used in the SOQL query. The first one is a percentage. The first wildcard character is a percentage. It represents the 0 or more character. That means if you are writing here P percentage, could be possible that there is a record only after P, only one value is there. After P, only one value is there. There could be a possible that after P, there are so many values are there. So many letters are there, right? So everything it will qualify. That means if it is a P or PA or more characters, right? Whatever, everything it will be taken care. That means after this, if I have a parent record, if I say parent account, this is also qualifies here. That means first letter should be starting with P and then you can give a percentage. So number of characters it might take it. Number of characters it might take. So example, RA%. RA%, it will fetch the words whose name is starts with RA. So like a Ram Kumar, Rajesh, Rajani, right? So whoever the name starts with RA, like a Ram Gopal, so Rajkumar, it will pull all those records because their names are starting with RA. Like if you give a percentage before, that means I don't know what is the starting letter or I don't know starting word, but there is a something called end. It says that Kumar, right? At the end it says Kumar, but I don't know what is the first name. I know the last name is a Kumar. In that case, you can give a percentage starting and then say Kumar. So what will happen? It will fetch the words whose name is ending with Kumar. Like we have a Raj Kumar, right? So Ram Kumar, Rakesh Kumar, Suresh Kumar. So these all are names are ending with Kumar. These all are names are ending with Kumar. So whoever names are ending with Kumar, everything will be given because I'm writing the percentage at the starting. Percentage wildcard character I'm writing at the starting. When you write at the end, it will take starting, RA should be there, then whatever the names are there. If you write a first, end it should be Kumar, but first it can be anything. And if you put a percentage both the sides, like starting there might be a something and ending there might be a something, right? So like we have a names called Jyoti Rama, Bharati, right? So whoever inside the name, wherever RA I can see, wherever the RA is there, everybody's names will come. So starting letter could be anything, ending letter could be anything. But within the word, if I see that there is a RA, so could be possible that Ram Kumar also will come, Prakash is also come, Bharati, Rajshekhar, right? So these are the name which will be printing it. And the second wild character is underscore. Wildcard character is underscore. So it represents only one character. That means if I'm writing here, P underscore, if I'm writing P underscore, what will happen if I have a two records, PA and parent account, PA and parent account? In this case, it will take only PA, it will not take parent account, because underscore will be taken care only one character. Whatever the name, whatever the character you have specified, after that character, if you say anything underscore, so that means only one character after that could be possible. Like in this case, let's go to the developer console query editor. Let's say that select ID, comma, name from account. From account. Let's say where name, I have so many names in the account. So I'll just say that some names which are starting with NE and ending with something. So there are few records between, like a new test, parent EN is matching. And then here, right, June NE is there, June account NE is there. And then here NE is there, lightning component 1, right, industry 1. Perfect. Now, if I say here, in case underscore, in case if I say underscore, click on execute, how many records it is giving? It is giving me 7 records. Before it was giving me 8 records, because the last one, if you see here, industry 1, after NE, there is no character. After NE, there is no character here. So that's the reason one record it did not give me. It did not provide me the last record. So if you are looking that kind of a scenario, that whatever you are mentioning the character, after that character, I just need a one character. So that could be a multiple characters also. Like if you say here NE, and then that's it. Then it will not give anything. It will not give anything because I do not have anything here. Now, if I say EN, instead of NE, if I say EN, after EN, there should be a one character. So that is component. It will not give me the component 1. There are two things are there, component 1. There are two records, component 1, but it did not give me the component 1. It just gave me the component. It just gave me the component because it will look for only single character. After this single character, if you specify percentage, what will happen? It is going to give me the all of them wherever it says EN. Now let's implement one program. So use case is write an Apex program to fetch all the account records whose name is starting with the specified character during runtime. Okay, so the character has to be passed during the runtime. So here I know that which character will be searched, but in the whatever we have a program, we don't know what character we are searching it. We don't know what character we are searching it. So let's go ahead and implement. Public static void. Now we are searching the which object it is, account record. So let's say get account by account like operator, account like operator. Now in this case, I need a parameter because we are going to pass the character. So let's say that starting character. So I'll be passing the starting character. So first I need to cross verify if I have a value or not. So not equal to null. Not equal to null. So this character, okay, whatever we have with this string character, I'll be receiving the string character equal to NE. Like this, I'll be receiving it NE or EN or ME or PA. Like this, I'll be receiving it. Percentage, I cannot pass it there. Percentage, I cannot pass it here. I need to do it within the program. So once I receive the character, so what I'll do is I'll concatenate with percentage. That means that is my starting character. After the starting character, I wanted to add a percentage. In that case, what I'm doing it, starting character, then I'm adding the percentage here. Now list of account, ACC list equal to select ID, comma name. Let's take from account, where what I'll do is name, like. Now we are passing the dynamic string here. So let's put it as a colon and the dynamic string. Now I have the values. Now what I'll do is, let me print this records for loop, account, ACC colon ACC list. And then I'll be printing the system dot debug. Let's say account record is plus ACC. Now let's say I'm printing the complete record here. Now let's take this method, debug. This is my class dot. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give some account. Let's go to the account. Okay, I have some Apex records. Parent is also there. So what I'll do is I'll pass the parent. I'm passing the parent. Now let me execute this. Right, I have it 2 records. I'm getting the 2 records here. Now, in case, for example, now I wanted to pass NE. I wanted to pass NE. So what will happen wherever it is NE, starting with NE, then it is going to give me those. Let's say that starting, I do not want NE. So starting also, I don't know. Right. So in that case, you have to add a percentage this side. You have to concatenate percentage this side also. If you put percentage this side, what will happen? You have to store this everything into one string value, and then you can pass that. Right? So then you can pass that character here. Let's say this is fine. Percentage is fine. Percentage is fine. Now I need an underscore. I need an underscore. If I have an underscore, how can I pass it? If I have underscore, how can I pass it? So let's go to the anonymous window. Now let's say that I'm implementing here string. I'll say that search string equal to, I'm specifying here percentage. Let's say NE underscore percentage. This is my string. This is my string. So let's do other way this. Okay, let me use this string, search string, I'm storing into one. Again, one more string, I'm storing it here, and this string, I'm passing it here, search string. Let's save it. Now let me print this also, system dot debug, print the search string. Right. Now let me go here and click on execute. So what is happening? It is giving me all the records. Basically, my string is %NE %. It is built %NE %. Now, this is 8 records it is printing along with all of this. Now I'm going to add underscore. I'm going to add the underscore there. So here what I'll do is I'll add the underscore. Click on save. Debug and click on execute. What happened? It gave me 7 records and it is added underscore. So 2 wildcard characters I have used it. %_ both I have used it. Both I have used it. So this is how in the real time also wildcard characters are used like this. So in the real time, we will be passing the normal string, but you need to modify within the code. You need to modify within the code. So this is how we will do it in the real time. This is how we will do it in the real time. Any questions? Okay. So observe this. Use tooling API. Use tooling API. Now, if I'm running a normal query, so let's remove this where condition. I'm just running a normal query. I'll click on execute. What happened? It is executed perfectly fine. I got the 40 records. If I say use tooling API, what it is saying, S object type account is not supported. You cannot run normal object using the use tooling API. The purpose of this use tooling API is when you wanted to find a dedicated metadata information. When you wanted to find a dedicated metadata information. That means when the developer need to know sensitive metadata. Sensitive because metadata we cannot get it as like account is not metadata. Account is normal data, the data that is entered there. So if you wanted to access a sensitive metadata information, then we use a tooling API. Now, where can I see metadata information? Now, account is any of the object, not only the account, any of the object is not a metadata. This is basically a data. Now, when you go to the debug log, in the debug log, if you have any records, so those all are metadata because here I'll be able to see my code. In the debug logs, I'll be able to see my code. So if I open any debug log here, so for example, if I open this, I can see some kind of a information here. I can see some kind of a information. I can see if I open the debug log view, I can see some information which is talking about the metadata is talking about some information here. If you wanted to know this Apex logs, or if you wanted to know your debug levels, like if you whatever the debug levels you have, so this is also some kind of a metadata information. Now, any of the metadata information that you wanted to pull using the SOQL query, then we have to use this use tooling API. Let's take it for example, debug level. Debug level. So basically, I'm trying to query this debug level. So debug level has ID and then it has a developer name. ID and developer name. Now I have checked this use tooling. Now if I do not check this use tooling, okay, what it says that S object type debug level is not supported. Whatever you are trying to query the sensitive data or whatever you are trying to query the metadata information, you cannot run it using the normal SOQL query. You need to enable the tooling API. When you enable the tooling API, you can see the metadata information, that is a sensitive data information. Now, this is one of the record where you can see your debug log levels. Now, for example, in the real time, sometimes what we do is we put lot of debug logs. We put lot of debug logs here, right? So many debug logs we will put it. Like let's say that there is a batch class, okay? There is a batch class and this batch class is running in the night. Now there is some issue happened. Some issue happened. Now we wanted to debug that batch class. Now, if I wanted to debug the batch class, definitely it is going to grow my logs. Now, as per the limit, what is the debug log limit that we have already discussed? So the debug log limit is 20 MB. 20 MB. So if it is crossed at 20 MB, it will say that your log is full. If it is a 20 MB, it is already occupied. So what it says that either you delete a few debug logs here or wait for some time. Wait for some time. Maybe it is like a 15 days or right. So there will be a time where it is going to automatically cleared by the system. So now in those scenarios, if you wanted to clear your logs, now if you have some 100 logs here, by clicking on the delete button, how long it will take for you to delete it? It is going to take a lot of time. Right? It is going to take a lot of time. Instead of deleting like this, what you can do is you can go to the SOQL query. In the SOQL query, we have we can build the query. So for example, if you go to the file, open, and you can see here one of the object called star something log. This is the Apex log. This is Apex log. Open this Apex log. Now you can see here ID, status, log user, length, right, operation, and the location, whatever it is there. So take that information and if you unselect this, right, so what is happening? This is the data information. If you select it, it will, if you try to execute it, it will give you the output. So this will work for both of them, Apex logs. Sometimes you will not see the result directly here. Sometimes you will see the result. In the production, sometimes you will not be able to see direct clicking on this execute, you might not see. But if you enable this, what will happen is you can able to see the information. So using tooling API is nothing but if you wanted to retrieve any sensitive metadata information, then you can, by using the SOQL query, you can get those information. So homework, write an Apex program to fetch all group records whose type is starting with specified character at runtime. Fetch group records. Do you know what is the group records? I think we have already discussed in the admin class.
Group object.
So what will be there in the group object?
And queues.
queues will be there. So next one is a DML statement. So DML statement, DML is nothing but data manipulation language. So data is nothing but a record. Data is nothing but a record. Manipulation is nothing but a managing. So basically we are managing the records. DML is nothing but managing the records. So by using the DML statement, we can perform the operation one or more records at a time through the Apex programming. And we know that by using the DML statement, we can perform insert, update, delete, undelete, upsert, and merge operation on this object. Right? So data is nothing but a record and manipulation is nothing but a managing. So by using the DML, we can manage the records. We can manage the records either by inserting the record or updating the record or deleting the record or undo, undelete or upsert or merge. Upsert or merge. Upsert is nothing but update and insert. Upsert is nothing but it does both the thing update plus insert. It does both of them. Now, there are two things which we have in the DML statement. First one is by using the DML statement. This we all know. And the second one is by using the database class method. Database class method. Two ways we can perform the DML. DML can be performed using the DML statement, which is a normal insert, update, those are the things. And by using the database class method also. Now you can ask a question that we already have a DML statement. Why do we need a database class method? And this could be the interview question also. Why we have a DML statement and database class methods? Why do we need to use the database class methods? Because there are some drawbacks with the DML statements. There are some drawbacks with the DML statement. So we will see what are those drawbacks while working on it, while doing the assignment. Now the first one is DML statement. So DML statement has insert, update, delete, undelete, upsert, and merge. Whereas database class method. So database class method is by using the database class method, we can interact with the Salesforce object through the programming. And we can perform all the database operations, bulk records at a time. And database class provides the below method. So whatever we have normal DML statement, like we have a insert, we have a update, we have a delete, undelete, upsert, merge. These are normal DML. Before that, just add a class called database, database.insert, database.update, database.delete, but it is a method, database.undelete method, database.upsert method, database.merge method. And then we have something called empty recycle bin. Empty recycle bin, this is another method which is exist in the database class. So database.empty recycle bin method. So these are the database classes. These are the database classes which is provided by the Salesforce, and we can use those methods. By using those methods, some of the drawbacks with the DML which can be overcome by using the database.insert. By using the database.insert, we will see that. Now, the next one is the governor limits. Now let's see DML statement governor limits. So DML statement can use maximum of 150 DML statements per transaction. We can use 150. We can use 150 DML statements. How many SOQL statements can be executed in per transaction?
200.
How many SOQL rows can be retrieved?
3,000.
50,000.
Right. So 150 is the DML statement per transaction. This is maximum DML statements I'm talking about. How many DMLs you will be writing it. But when you come here, like if you are writing more than 150 DMLs, okay, if the developer is writing more than 150 DMLs, so what will happen? System will throw system.limit exception, too many DML statements 151. Then your transaction will be aborted. Now, how to overcome this? Yes, we will discuss that. But when you are writing the more than 150, it is going to give you the one of the exception error. So in interview, they will ask like, what are the exception errors do you see usually? So this is one of the exception, system.limit exception, too many DML statements, DML statements. And the second one is each DML statement can process maximum of 10,000 records, maximum of 10,000 records at a time. That means you can process the records. Here, the statement, how many DML statement I'm doing it. Here, how many records I'm processing by using the DML statement. By using the DML statement, we can process only 10,000 records. Now, if you have a more records here to process, what we have to do is we have to divide those records into batch wise, and we have to process the smaller piece of the batch step by step.
Swapna,
Yeah.
when you say process, does it mean like I have an insert statement? So with one insert statement, I can insert up to 10,000 records. Does it mean that?
Yes, because here
Okay.
I'm talking about the DML statements. So DML statements are nothing but insert, update, upsert, undelete, delete, merge, all this will come. So whether you do the insert, update, upsert, delete, undelete, merge, whatever the DML. So these all is going to be applied this kernel limits. Whatever the operation we do it per transaction. So that is the maximum DML statements can process. Each DML statement. If you ask me that, okay, in my Apex class, I have if I insert, 5 update, 5 upsert. So does it count all of them equal to 10,000? No, I'm saying here each DML statement. This is one DML statement and this is another DML statement, right? So this is one DML statement, this is another DML statement, this is another DML statement. So each one of them can be processed 10,000 records.
Okay.
Now, these are the governor limits for the DML statements. And what are the best practices for the DML in case if you are using the DML? Best practices, do not use the DML statement directly inside the for loop. Do not use it inside the for loop. That is one of the best practice. Now, any questions so far? Okay, so the questions are, what are the governor limits for the DML?
150
150
per
DML
transaction and 10,000 records per DML mistake.
9,000 at a time, 10,000.
Why do we use a for update?
Locking. To implement locking mechanism.
Out of deadlock.
To apply the lock on the records.
To apply the locking mechanism. What are the best practices for DML?
Yeah, not using the for loop.
Bulking of records. And then we use a single DML statement. Well, if
So purpose of offset class,
To skip the records.
skip the
To
record.
skip
that's
the mentioned record.
Right.
exclude a certain number of records.
Right. So what did we learn so far? The conclusion?
We have AllRows class,
Offset class, dynamic circle for
order
each
by,
like operator,
offset for update, DML
DML,
statements,
database class methods, and governor, final governor.
like operator.
Then DML statement
Statement governor
DML
limits.
governor limit.
and best practices.
Yes.
These all we have learned. So tomorrow we'll talk more about the DML statements. We'll see the database classes also. Okay, so that's all for today's class.